Brilliance Audio presents The Policewomen's Bureau by Ed Conlon, performed by Emily Durante and Scott Merriman. Author's Note: The Policewomen's Bureau is a work of fiction based on the life of my late friend Marie Cyril Spagnolo, and was written with her permission and cooperation. I was drawn to her story through her memoir, Detective Marie Cyril, and decided to adapt it as a novel over the course of our long talks. Both of us were detectives in the NYPD, though in different eras. Marie was appointed in 1957, and she was at my retirement party in 2011, 3 months before she died. The affinities between us were peculiar and deep. She'd lived a few blocks away from where I grew up, in Yonkers, and our families attended Mass at the same parish. Her husband, Sid, retired from the 44th Precinct in the South Bronx, where I was a detective, and cops I worked with remembered him. The first question most readers will ask is, how much of it is true? The short answer, most of it, and the worst of it. It was hard for me to make sense of what she went through. Though we had much in common, Marie was an outsider and a trailblazer, an Italian in an Irish police department, and a woman in a man's world. The indignities she suffered on the job and off were experiences I could only imagine, and so I decided to relate them with as little imagination as possible, relying on her versions of events and her emotional reactions to them. Whether this loyalty to the facts or to my friend represents a disloyalty to the reader, I can't say. But I do know that she wasn't crazy for believing and behaving as she did. At the same time, when Marie and I talked about this book, I told her I wanted the freedom to invent anything that might improve the story. She told me, "Go for it, kiddo." I went for it. Despite the title, this isn't a cop book. It isn't a thriller or a whodunit. Though Marie saw more than her share of action and solved more than her share of cases, no crime is as important as the character, how she changed in the changing times. How Marie became herself is the only mystery that matters, and this novel doesn't solve it. "I could tell you my adventures, beginning from this morning," said Alice a little timidly, "but it's no use going back to yesterday, because I was a different person then." "Explain all that," said the Mock Turtle. No, the adventures first," said the Gryphon in an impatient tone. "Explanations take such a dreadful time." Lewis Carroll, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland.
Prologue. 6 women sat on a row of metal folding chairs backed up against a wall. All in their 20s, dark-haired, in bulky black sweaters, dark blue skirts extending below the knee. All white against a white wall. None too tall or short, too fat or thin, all alike, or enough alike, at least to a stranger. That was the way these things were done. A man watched the women through mirrored glass from a dim and narrow hallway. Another man stood beside him, watching him watch. The second waited for the first to say something. When nothing was said, he asked, "See anyone you like?" "I don't. It was quick," the first man said. He sounded less uncertain than unimpressed. "The sweaters make them. She looked much nicer. Little black dress." There was another woman with the men, standing behind the one who asked the question. "See anyone you like?" She wouldn't have put it that way. She knew what he meant, but the other man didn't seem to, and the point was to make him understand. She considered saying something, then decided against it. She was an inspector, the commanding officer of the Policewomen's Bureau. It was the detective's case, but it was one of her girls who had made it, and she had called in more of them to see it through. "Not like," said the detective with a hint of strained patience.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?